Hi everyone, I'm delighted to welcome each one of you to this online conversation with Brendan and Robin, the founders and managing directors of Cirrus, a SAP partner focusing on ERP and in particular Business by Design. My name is Mariana Carroll and I'm your host for this session. I have a PhD in cloud computing, governance and risk, and I'm the founder and owner of Mariana Carroll Consulting. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us in this relevant and very topical conversation around cloud ERP adoption. I now have the pleasure of introducing you to Robin Brown and Brendan Barry, the founders and managing directors of Cirrus. They both have more than 20 years of experience in SAP and ERP spanning multiple industries. Cirrus is a SAP partner focusing on ERP, in particularly BYD or Business by Design. Their priority is to help clients future-proof their business by transforming business processes and also exploiting new business models. Their aim is to help their clients grow and through the use of technology to run better, smarter and more efficiently than ever before. Robin and Brendan, we look forward to gaining some new insights from you during this session. But before I hand over to Robin, let's just set the scene for our discussion. In this brief session, we would like to take you on a journey. Our journey starts with a broad view, looking at the business and technology landscape of today. So that is, what is our current reality? We'll then zoom closer into three core conversations. Firstly, Robin will briefly talk to us about historic on-premise ERP and the challenges and frustrations it represents. That's basically where we have been. Then Brendan will consider cloud adoption strategies, including the challenges or risks, as well as the drivers. So where are we going? And then together, Brendan and Robin will share some lessons learned around practical next steps around cloud ERP adoption or implementation. I have had a series of thought-provoking conversations in the last few months around the impact of digitalization on organizations. The IT service landscape is changing and evolving rapidly. We need to deal with automation and globalization. We talk about cloud, web-based platforms, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, mobile computing, data analytics, 3D printing, virtual realities, robotics, and the list goes on. So let's quickly look at some of these challenges and changes. The primary role of IT has always been to support business operations. Looking at the left bottom corner of the picture that's on your screen, IT started as a support and operation function, characterized by manual processes and underutilized resources. IT was typically seen as the cost center with little value. New market forces are creating unprecedented pressure for organizations to move faster with greater agility and change in response to new threats and opportunities. To achieve growth and maintain a competitive advantage require us to understand the key trends that will shape our future. Technology is at the core of ensuring businesses run better, faster, more efficiently, with greater effectiveness and enhanced service delivery. In our current reality, looking at the right top corner of your picture, we are experiencing the explosion of business data, the connectivity of powerful computers and smart devices, and the growing sophistication of software applications and cloud-based services. IT has moved beyond enablement function to one that permits growth and the introduction of new ways of working, truly becoming a value-adding partner to the business. You might be wondering, Mariana, what has that to do with cloud ERP? When it comes to the words we've just mentioned, like business value delivery, growth, efficiency, and productivity, it sparks conversations around end-to-end service delivery. And this is where cloud ERP plays such a vital role. Cloud is at the heart of our new competitive strategies, as it delivers benefits such as agile, on-demand solutions. It's based on value and fit-for-purpose IT service delivery. Cloud is about sufficiency and effective consumption and less IT waste. It's about quality, repeatability, performance, and redundancy. Ultimately, it's about cost, efficiencies, and enhanced customer services. When we combine intelligent ERP systems with cloud deployment, we achieve a faster and more sustainable way of running our processes, securing our data assets, and introducing smarter practices into our organizations. So let's continue to stage 2 on our journey. What is ERP? Where have we been? How does that translate into our current reality? Robin, we look forward to hearing more about historic on-premise ERP and the learnings, challenges, and frustrations you've seen and experienced over the last 20 years.
Thanks, Mariana. Let's take a quick look at the history of enterprise resource planning systems. ERP systems first appeared in the 1970s. They developed from material requirements planning systems. MRP systems used to manage demand, inventory, and procurement were integrated with finance and HR applications to provide an end-to-end business solution. Between 1972 and 1979, many well-known ERP vendors, such as SAP, Bond, JD Edwards, and Oracle, were founded. Initially, ERP systems ran on mainframe computers. Users did not have much access to the central processing unit. Data entry personnel would input data, and the data processing department would run sequential batch jobs. Reporting was limited to fixed format printouts that were often days or even weeks old. In the 1980s, with the advent of the mini-computer, the concept of online real-time was born. Individual users each had a terminal on their desks, and ERP software provided instant feedback. From the early 1990s, many companies switched to client-server systems with a Windows user interface. Integration management was difficult because the operating systems, database management systems, and applications each used their own independent version control. From the new millennium, ERP vendors enhanced their products to become internet-enabled and developed service-oriented architecture which allowed different systems to communicate with each other. For example, to enable customer and supplier collaboration. Gartner sees 3 distinct eras in the history of ERP. The first was classicism from the 1980s to early 1990s, when organizations used several best-of-breed applications. User satisfaction was high, but data integrity, integration, and reporting were a nightmare. The second era was modernism from the mid-1990s to the mid-2000s, when software vendors attempted to include all ERP functionality in a single monolithic system. Agility and Fit2 requirements were sacrificed in the interest of integration, resulting in frustrated users. The third era is postmodernism, from the late 2000s to today and beyond. Business users are driving the transformation from a tightly integrated and inflexible environment into a loosely coupled federated model. While this new model promises much more business value, the agility and flexibility also bring added complexity, especially in terms of data integrity, integration, and reporting. Let's look at some of the key challenges of on-premise ERP systems. On-premise ERP systems were expensive and difficult to manage, requiring highly skilled and costly resources. As a result, they were often only accessible to the largest global corporations, like the Fortune 500. Implementations were lengthy, often spanning many years. On-premise ERP systems are often highly customized, making upgrades complex and time-consuming. Customized processes need to be thoroughly tested during upgrades because they are the sole responsibility of the organization. Upgrades can then span 3 to 4 months and are often only performed every 2 to 4 years. In today's era of disruptive technological innovation, delays in adopting new technology could place the organization at a significant disadvantage. Fortunately, public cloud ERP systems provide solutions to many of these problems.
Thank you, Robin. From conversations and interviews over the last few years with CIOs and business execs, these challenges you've just described are real and providing many frustrations. I think to a point of actually hindering organizations from growing, and progressing. But let's move on to stage 3 on our journey, cloud computing adoption and the impact on ERP. That is looking at where are we now and where are we going. Let's start with cloud computing. Cloud computing, described as simply as possible, is the delivery of IT services over the internet, on demand, and when it comes to public cloud, on a consumption or per-use basis. We've seen massive uptake of cloud-based solutions in the last 5 years as more and more organizations understand the benefits of agility and automation to achieve faster time to value and to address those ever-changing business demands of faster compute performance and scalable resources. Cost models are better understood and the fears around security are being addressed. Although, I must add, security remains the greatest concern or one of the greatest concerns when it comes to the protection of data. From a South African perspective, data privacy and legislation are better understood. I think cloud vendors are maturing in their service offerings and connectivity is becoming more affordable and reliable. So what are we saying? Cloud computing adoption and strategy is about adequate understanding of what it means in terms of our organizations. It's about weighing those benefits versus the risks and understanding the value proposition. It's about strategic thinking, proper planning, partnerships, and the right team. This leads me to our conversation with Brendan. Brendan, we look forward to hearing more about specific cloud challenges or risks, as well as the drivers you found to be topical with your clients, and also how that relates to our conversation of today around ERP.
Thanks, Mariana. Okay, so let's start with some basic principles. If we have a quick look at this diagram, the first principle is that at the heart of your ERP ecosystem is the core ERP. And the idea there is that it contains the standard business transactions and must be customized as little as possible. Surrounding the core, we've got a whole lot of applications or specialist systems which we consider non-commodity applications or programs. For this reason, integration becomes a key required competency, so the different systems in your ecosystem need to be able to talk to each other easily. And at the core of this, data integrity is critical. So accurate data between all of the systems is imperative. Next, I'd like to clarify an important distinction in terms of cloud ERP systems. On the one hand, we've got ERP systems hosted on what we call infrastructure as a service. Okay, infrastructure as a service is where you put software that you've purchased onto a third-party hardware. So a local hosting service provider or one of the hyper vendors like Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services. On the other hand, we've got software as a service where you pay for the right to use software, and that software is often hosted by the software vendor. And this is what we are talking about when we refer to cloud ERP. So how does cloud ERP, public cloud ERP, overcome many of the constraints of an on-premise ERP? Firstly, it's around the licensing models. These are more flexible and don't require a significant upfront capital investment because licenses are charged on a monthly subscription basis. The only upfront cost is the implementation, and contracts usually last between 3 and 5 years. Secondly, innovation. We have entered a new era of digitization, and there is an unprecedented growth in technology such as big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain, and many of the others that Mariana also mentioned. The major ERP vendors are starting to incorporate these technologies into their software. But the rate of change is so rapid that the environment is constantly evolving, making it very difficult to keep up. Cloud ERP helps customers stay up to date with these developments and take advantage of them. Next is the frequency of upgrades. This supports business innovation and process optimization. By limiting custom changes in the core ERP, the software vendor can deliver upgrades 3 to 4 times a year without disrupting business processes, which means that customers can get rapid access to these technologies as they evolve. Public cloud ERP allows limited solution extensibility within the core, for example, custom forms or user-defined fields and data validations. For more complex solution extensibility and integration, these are performed on a separate application development platform, also hosted in the cloud, which provides an open framework and non-proprietary software development tools. The application development platform is integrated with the core ERP using APIs. Multi-tenant systems provide significant cost reduction through economies of scale, and further cost reductions are achieved through shorter implementation cycles, months instead of years, and upgrades, weeks instead of months. These cost reductions make enterprise-class ERP systems accessible to small and medium-sized companies, which was never the case before. Hardware and application management charges are more flexible, allowing an organization to scale according to business requirements. This means that the system can grow seamlessly in terms of users and functionality as your business grows. Outsourcing of hardware and application management allows the organization to focus on more strategic business objectives, while the software vendor takes care of system and database administration, for example, backup and recovery, performance monitoring, and technical upgrades. Other attractions of public cloud ERP systems include improved analytics embedded within the ERP system, a more modern user interface geared around mobile access, more emphasis on end users managing the applications with less reliance on IT staff. However, cloud ERP systems come with some concerns. Downtime due to upgrades, for example. Public cloud ERP systems are typically upgraded 3 to 4 times a year, which requires some downtime. If this is a risk to your business, consider a single tenant or private cloud option so that you have more control over the timing of the upgrade. Automated testing tools and processes can shorten the test cycles required for upgrades significantly, making upgrades routine. And upgrade windows are over weekends and published well in advance so that you can plan for it. Data regulations. Certain governments require that sensitive data is stored in country. For example, GDPR in Europe or POPI in South Africa. But if you have the right vendor, it's easy to keep up with regulatory developments because software vendors guarantee legal compliance. Uptime requirements. Consider the business continuity measures, such as high availability and disaster recovery provided by the hosting partner. Big ERP players invest significant amounts in data redundancy, replication, and disaster recovery processes. Security. As Mariana already mentioned, this is often the biggest concern. But in fact, it's actually a significant advantage because cloud data security standards usually surpass any that could be provided in an on-premise environment. And lastly, connectivity. In a country like South Africa, this has typically been a problem, but internet connectivity and speed and access is improving daily and is much more accessible to people than it was before. So in closing, when we finish with the webinar, we will put a video up we want to show you a practical example of a case study. So there's a company in America called Skullcandy. They're a high-tech manufacturing company that make earphones and other accessories. And they've got a very nice a case study of a successful cloud ERP deployment.
Thank you, Brendan. Now that we've walked through the journey, starting at mainframe or on-premise days to cloud ERP, considering the challenges, frustrations, but also discovering the many opportunities and benefits, the next question that comes to mind is, if I'm convinced cloud ERP is a strong possibility for my organization, what do I do now? Brendan and Robin, based on your experience, how would you help me navigate my journey into the world of cloud ERP and taking the next step?
Thanks, Mariana. The first step is to formulate an ERP strategy. that clearly defines the business objectives and value proposition. Once you've analyzed and documented the business requirements, the pain points and opportunities, you can prepare a detailed roadmap to get you to your destination. Try to strike the right balance between agility and simplicity. It's also important to perform an organization readiness assessment to understand the people and process requirements to obtain value from the new technology. Let's consider a few criteria for selection of a software vendor and ERP application. It's essential to select an ERP system that will meet your specific business requirements. Select a vendor with a vision and capability to provide all the critical functionality required for your organization's industry, region, and regulatory environment. In light of the business-critical processes that will run on your ERP system, consider the software vendor's longevity and commitment to innovation. Process disruption or failure to keep pace with rapidly evolving technologies can jeopardize your organization's sustainability. The ERP systems that have stood the test of time have laid a solid foundation, adopted the best technological architecture, and used this to consistently drive innovation. Also consider the availability of experienced ERP resources in your region, because these are the people who will implement and enhance your solution over time. So Brendan, can you give us some advice on how to select the best partner?
Yeah, thanks, Robin. So what are you looking for when you're selecting your ERP partner? First of all, you're looking for somebody with business process knowledge. You want a partner that has experience in your industry and that can understand your processes. You want somebody that's technically strong. Your partner must be able to map your processes and requirements to those in the system. There can also be many other technical requirements, such as integrating third-party systems or B2B scenarios with business partners. Next, you want somebody with implementation knowledge and experience. ERP implementation is a complex exercise, and you need a partner that can help you navigate the dynamics of an ERP implementation project. And lastly, you're looking for somebody with long-term commitment. ERP implementations are a journey, and the software is constantly evolving. So you want a partner that will walk the long road with you. The next step is deployment. So Robin, what are your thoughts on deployment?
Thanks, Brendan. Let's look at the best approach for deployment of the new system. It's often not practical for an organization to move all its systems into the cloud in the short term. Hybrid models, a combination of on-premise and cloud systems, are practical ways to transition to the cloud over time. For example, as legacy hardware reaches the end of its life cycle. Moving from on-premise to true public cloud applications, in other words, software as a service, usually requires a new implementation. In these cases, a phased approach may be advisable. For example, moving from on-premise to infrastructure as a service, and then to software as a service. Businesses may also consider a phased approach to the functionality to be implemented. For example, many customers choose to implement finance and procurement first, and once this has matured and settled down, to migrate other functionality, such as CRM, production, or human resources onto the platform. Brendan, can you give us your insights around data and integration management?
Yeah, so the next consideration is, as Robin says, data and integration management. Gartner lists data integrity management as a top concern when dealing with a fragmented postmodern ERP environment. To quote, as digital business and the Internet of Things move to the forefront, proper data governance and data quality will increase in importance. The usefulness of sophisticated high-speed analytics and algorithms will be undermined if the underlying data quality is not maintained. Next, you need to resist the temptation to cherry-pick a variety of software applications from different vendors for different business processes, which require extensive integration. Although competitive differentiation may require specialist software, there is a compelling case for an ERP system with out-of-the-box integration for core business processes in one system. Most software vendors will assert that their applications have standard connectors for other applications, but a thorough investigation will usually reveal that these connectors lack in-depth real-time integration capabilities. And the next consideration is ease of implementation. how easy is system configuration and setup? And is it accessible to users? It was previously mostly in the domain of consultants or specialists, but the latest cloud ERP offerings make this much more a user function.
Brendan and Robin, thank you so much for the practical advice. Today's session was really helpful, and I hope there are many more similar conversations to help clients navigate this ever-changing but exciting digital world we live in. It's so great to have the audience also participating in the conversation. We've received a question: how far are we in reality in terms of moving to the cloud?
Yeah, okay, let me answer that. So it varies by geography, industry, vendor, and we also need to consider whether we're talking about infrastructure as a service or true cloud software as a service. But the projections are that around 2017, 2018, cloud and on-premise is pretty much the same. And as an example, SAP has just announced that their revenue in cloud has just surpassed its on-premise solution revenue. In South Africa, in particular, adoption has been a bit slower. There's for reasons of connectivity, but awareness is growing, connectivity is improving, and we certainly expect this to be increasing in the near future.
Thank you, Brendan. We have also received a question from Christopher. What is making the significant speed of adoption possible?
Thanks, Chris. I think there are a number of factors that are driving this adoption. The first is improved speed of connectivity, which is obviously essential if you're using a cloud ERP system. Second factor would be the reduced costs of hardware. In addition, multi-tenant systems make it a lot more affordable because you have a number of companies leveraging the same hardware. Thirdly, there's been an increase in tech-savvy mobile users, and these people require access from anywhere on any device. And a fourth point would be that if you keep the core ERP as vanilla as possible, this then expedites implementation and upgrade.
Thank you, Robin. It has been a great privilege to spend time with each one of you on this webinar. Brendan and Robin, thank you for a great conversation. Perhaps a last question. How would someone get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your products and services?
Yeah, thanks, Mariana. So have a look at our website, www.cirrus.co.za, or connect with us on LinkedIn. It was great talking to everyone.
Thank you, Brendan. I hope we all connect soon again. Thank you that you have joined us. Have the best Friday. Bye.
Skullcandy was created out of the intersection of music, sports, technology, and really creative culture. Skullcandy creates world-class premium audio experiences as well as gaming products.
Prior to us coming into the marketplace, you could have headphones in any color you wanted as long as it was black. And we were really that first brand that brought color and energy within the consumer electronics space.
Skullcandy was started in Park City, but since then we've expanded to San Francisco, London, Mexico City, Shanghai. Our mission is how do we inspire people to live life at full volume? How do we help people have more fun through innovation, music, and sports?
Everything we do has a true global component to it. The biggest challenge that we've had is really trying to implement not just the brand's culture and identity and values, but also all the same processes. That's where it's really important that we have a solid background on our operational side.
In 2008, we realized that we were starting to outgrow the systems that we were using to manage the business. So we made a decision to implement an ERP platform, and we selected SAP by Design.
SAP by Design has been critical for us to be able to expand internationally. It provided a huge catalyst for us to be able to really scale the business. It really provided us the ability to not just manage inventory, but also be able to plan and forecast much better.
As we process every order,
It all goes through SAP by design. And then the financial implications of that flow into our financial system of record, which is super critical because we're a public company.
About 77% of the transactions that run through by design for the order to cash process are completely hands-off.
We have about a 99% shipment accuracy to our customers. Being able to ship timely and accurately is a major logistics hurdle, and without SAP by design, we wouldn't be able to handle that.
We have to have a partner like SAP that brings together those insights so that we can go out and win.
SAP by design is providing that template by which we can manage complexity in as simple a way as possible. I can't imagine trying to manage a business that's touching almost 80 countries globally without a system like SAP by design.
SAP helps Skullcandy run simple.